Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be picking one MVP from every Summer League team this season. Let's get into it. Starting with the Atlanta Hawks, I picked Kobe Bufkin as the MVP. Bufkin was drafted by the Hawks at pick 15 in this year's draft. The 20-year-old averaged 14 points per game and 3.5 assists, but shot the ball very poorly. He still showed signs of being effective and versatile in his ability to play multiple positions. His best quality, in my opinion, is his feel for the game and his IQ. Kobe played 2 seasons at Michigan where he blew up his sophomore year, scoring 14 a game and doing a little bit of everything on both sides for the team. Still a very young player who has time to find his role in the NBA. The Hawks have shown that they are willing to play their young guys, so it will be interesting to see if he can get minutes this season. The next team is the Boston Celtics, and I chose Jordan Walsh, who averaged 16 points per game and shot over 40% from 3. He was drafted in the early second round of the 2023 draft out of Arkansas, and coming into the league, it was his offense that was a question mark. He's a very versatile wing that plays elite defense. He has high basketball IQ as well to pair with his athleticism. I wasn't a huge believer in him coming out of college, but he looked good this summer. I could see him finding a way onto the roster quickly if he can make the 3-ball at a high percentage. The team did go 1-4 this summer, but Walsh showed signs that he could be a steal in the second round. For the Brooklyn Nets, I went with Jalen Wilson out of Kansas, who was drafted at the end of the second round this year. I always felt like he was a first-round player, being 6'8" and able to play the 2 or 3. Wilson scored the ball easily in the Summer League at all 3 levels, averaging just under 18 points per game. Wilson showed out on a pretty average team, and I wasn't surprised to see Brooklyn sign him to a 2-way contract. I expect him to stick around in the league in the coming years. For the Charlotte Hornets, I chose Brandon Miller, the number 2 pick in this year's draft. He was the MVP of this team, and it wasn't really close. This was far and away the worst team in the Summer League. They were hard to watch, but Millard really did shine at times. He's one of the best shooters in the class, and I was most impressed with his rebounding and defense. Miller is going to be an elite scorer in this league, being able to score from all 3 levels, both hands, and can really shoot. I look forward to him putting to rest the bust conversation when the season starts. Next is Chicago. They went 3-2 in the Summer League, and their MVP was a guy I honestly didn't know much about, Javon Freeman-Liberty. He averaged 21 points per game while shooting just under 50% from the field and 46% from 3. He also contributed over 4 assists and 4 rebounds a game in under 30 minutes. He played college at DePaul and went undrafted in 2022. Big guard at 6'4" was the most surprising player this summer. He played in the G League last year and was pretty solid but not a standout. He just agreed to a 2-way contract with the Raptors a few days ago, and I'm excited to see if he can keep the momentum going from the Summer League. Next is the Cavs, who won the Summer League this year, going 5-0 and having multiple players stand out. Isaiah Mobley was the MVP of this team to me. He looked like he was playing against high schoolers at times, 6'10" lanky big man with great touch. He did very well in the G League last year for Cleveland. He was drafted in 2022 in the late second round and really showed out the Summer League, averaging 18, 8, and 4 throughout the 5 games. He really was getting to any spot he wanted and dominating the paint. Him playing with his brother next year would make this Cavs team very interesting, as they're already one of the biggest teams in the league. We'll see if he can transfer some of this offense from the Summer League into the NBA this year. For the Dallas Mavericks, I chose Jaden Hardy, who averaged 23 points a game for the Mavs in the Summer League. He didn't shoot the ball great, but he was a big standout. The team went 4-1, and he was the reason why. Really did a great job of attacking, and it showed. He shot 11 free throws a game. He was a big sleeper to me in the 2022 draft, where he was picked in early round 2 after a season with the G League Ignite. It seems like he has all the tangibles to be a regular NBA player. We'll see if he can become a more efficient scorer to give himself a chance. He's still only 21 years old, and I think he's one of the biggest sleepers in the NBA right now. The Denver Nuggets MVP was Hunter Tyson. He really surprised me this Summer League. He averaged over 20 points per game while shooting 50% from 3. Drafted in the early second round this year out of Clemson, where he played 4 years. He had a pretty good college career, but it was on a team that was very mediocre. He shined this summer, though, showing that he was able to score from all 3 levels. He's a 6'8" small forward that could be a decent 3-and-D guy if he improves on his defense. Tyson made Summer League first team, which nobody expected. Really impressive, and we'll see if his NBA career takes off in a couple years. The Detroit Pistons had a really good Summer League, going 4-1, and it's because they played guys who will get regular minutes for them this year. Jalen Duren was my choice for MVP, the 2022 lottery pick. 6'10" big man who was only 19 years old looked really good this summer. He's got elite athleticism and proved that he has been working on his game. He was hitting mid-range jumpers off the pull-up as well as catch-and-shoot threes, which he did not show last year for the Pistons. It's clear he's got a lot of confidence. He looked a lot more comfortable with the ball in his hand, and if this young player finds any type of jumper, he could be a big threat on both sides of the ball. For the Golden State Warriors, Lester Quinones was the clear MVP, and I think he was snubbed out of the second team All-Summer League as well. He averaged 21 points a game and didn't shoot great, but he looked really good. He's a second-year guy who went undrafted in 2022 out of Memphis. I really enjoyed his game in college, where he was an elite shooter. But since getting to the NBA, he has really worked on his game. His handle and craftiness was on display this summer. He's not the quickest guy, but he's very smooth and could really shine in this Warriors system. There have been a lot of comparisons to Jordan Poole in his game, and I do see it. However, I don't think he'll reach that potential, although I think he'll take one of the biggest steps in the NBA this year. The Houston Rockets had a great summer league, but lost in the championship game. Cam Whitmore is obviously the MVP of the summer league and was actually given this award by the NBA as well. He averaged 19 points per game and played elite defense. He was showing his ability to score at all three levels and was great in transition. The projected top 5 pick of the 2023 draft fell all the way to 20 and looks like the clear steal of the draft already. Still only 19 years old, he was really physical and looked like he was playing with a chip on his shoulder in the summer. I'm excited to see him get after it on defense this year and show why he should have been a top 10 pick in this year's draft. I picked Jarace Walker as MVP of the Pacers Summer League. He did a little bit of everything, averaging 14 points a game, about 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. He also averaged a block and steal a game as well. Walker went pick 8 in the 2023 draft after one season at Houston. He feels like the one guy from the lottery that doesn't get talked about a lot. I love his versatility in his game, being able to do anything on the court and play almost any position. He reminds me a lot of Jeremy Grant, but we'll see how many minutes he can get in his rookie season. For the Los Angeles Clippers, this has to go to Xavier Moon, who averaged just under 20 points per game while shooting 55% from the field and 57% from 3. He also contributed with 5 rebounds and 4.5 assists a game. He's an older player and only 6 feet tall, but he was killing everyone. He went undrafted in 2017, and it may be too late for his NBA career because he's already 28 years old, but deserves a shout out for how he played. He also made second team All-Summer League as well. As of a couple days ago, the Clippers actually released Moon. It wasn't due to his talent though, most likely his age. He will definitely be playing basketball somewhere next year though, whether it's overseas or another chance in the league. For the Lakers, I chose Max Christie as their Summer League MVP. He averaged 19 points per game while shooting 50% from 3, which in turn helped him earn all Summer League second team honors. I wasn't very high on him when he was drafted in early second round in 2022 after a freshman year at Michigan State. He did a good job of creating shots for himself this summer and at times taking games over. He showed signs he's been working on his shot creating, which should help him take that next step for his offensive game. I still don't think that will transfer to the league, but he's a big guard who can really shoot, so if he finds a way to be decent on defense, he may get some minutes this year. Kenny Lofton was the MVP for the Memphis Grizzlies this summer for me. He averaged 18 points a game and shot really efficiently. This is a player who I really think highly of. He somehow went undrafted in 2022. He played in 24 games for the Grizzlies last season and didn't get many minutes, but proved he can hold his own in my opinion. He isn't the tallest guy, but big frame and very agile. He's shown he can score at all 3 levels as well. But I think his biggest issue is his position. He's kind of a mix of a 3 and 4. I hope he gets more minutes this season so he can prove himself. Next is the Miami Heat, and I chose Orlando Robinson. He was arguably the best player in Summer League, where he averaged 25 points a game and 9 boards. The 6'11 big man who was undrafted in 2022 out of Fresno State dominated. He was able to make first team All-Summer League and signed a contract with the Heat as well. He could do whatever he wanted physically and also showed some good touch, shooting just under 60% from the field. He did play in 31 games for Miami last season, so he should be getting more opportunity this year. Marjon Beauchamp was the Bucks MVP this summer, and he's someone I really wanted to watch. He played pretty well, scoring 13 points a game while leading the team and doing a little bit of everything. The 6'7 forward was drafted at the end of round 1 in 2022 by Milwaukee, and he has a ton of potential. He got opportunity for the Bucks last season, playing 13 minutes a game in over 52 games. He didn't really get to show his full potential though due to playing with NBA stars, but we'll see if he can find a role for himself and provide something for this championship level team. I chose Leonard Miller as the MVP for the Minnesota Timberwolves this summer. I spoke really highly about him in my previous video, but he's a guy who has a ton of potential as well. His offense is what surprised me the most, where he was able to score in a variety of ways. I also thought his playmaking and handle was impressive. His decision making was poor at times, and his lack of rebounds may be a concern, but those are traits that can easily be fixed. I really hope the 19-year-old second-round rookie gets a chance this season. Next is the Pelicans, and I thought Dyson Daniels was really impressive this summer. Did a great job of controlling the game. He averaged 14 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. The 20-year-old from Australia got the opportunity to play a lot with the ball in his hands. He was the 8th pick in the 2022 draft, and his defense has always been his greatest strength, but it looks like his offensive game is starting to grow. I think he's a player that excels for an elite team, but not someone you would get a lot out of for a lower level team. It's really crowded in New Orleans, but his defensive ability could carve out a bigger role for him this year. I chose Charlie Brown Jr. as MVP for the Knicks this summer. He's 26, so not a young prospect anymore, but the 6'6" forward played really well for New York. He's bounced around the league from team to team, not getting much of a chance, but the 2019 undrafted rookie is still fighting for his NBA career. He averaged just under 20 points a game in Summer League while shooting really efficient. You can tell he knows who he is as a player and picks his spots on offense really well. Not sure if this summer was enough for him to get a spot anywhere, but he looks solid and hopefully he carries that momentum. Easy decision for OKC this summer. Chet Holmgren was their MVP. The second overall pick in 2022 finally got back on the court after the season-ending injury last year. He looked like the best player on the court every game, impacting it on both ends. His defense is what will surprise a lot of people this year. An elite shot blocker that times his jumps as good as anyone in the league already. He will be fun to watch and is the clear frontrunner for Rookie of the Year. For the Orlando Magic, I chose Anthony Black as MVP. They had a very disappointing Summer League going 0-5, which isn't expected for a young team who had 2 lottery picks this year. Black went 6 overall this year, and the big guard was the only bright spot. He was able to contribute in a lot of different ways. He averaged 13 a game with 8 boards and 4 assists. Not efficient at all, just like the rest of the Magic this summer, but he did have moments where he looked really good. I would like to see his shot selection get much better and overall decision making. He will definitely get opportunity this year for Orlando, and let's see if he takes advantage of that because they still have guys like Suggs and Cole Anthony. Javonte Smart was Philly's MVP this summer for me. The 6'4" guard out of LSU who went undrafted in 2021 has always been a big prospect. He averaged 16 points in Summer League along with 4 boards and 6 assists. He always has been a player that does it all, but the major concern was his outside scoring. I think his offense looked very good in these games, but I do have to mention that this team was very skilled and had tons of scorers around him. He's been playing the last few seasons in the G League, and the only way he will get a chance in the league is if he learns to play more off the ball. He also needs to find a consistent 3-point shot, of course, but I still believe in the talent, but his chances are running out. I chose Toumani Camara as MVP for the Phoenix Suns. I truthfully forgot about him after the draft. The 23-year-old out of Belgium was drafted in the late second round of this year. Very good at attacking the hoop, but his biggest skill is his footwork when close to the basket. He averaged 16 points a game with 7 boards and showed he has elite defense potential due to his athletic ability and size. The big worry for him as a prospect was his shooting. You need to be able to shoot the 3 in today's game, especially as a 6'8" forward, but it's something he struggled with throughout his college career. He was able to improve this though year after year, starting at 17% as a freshman and finishing at 36% as a senior. It shows his work ethic, and he could be a deep sleeper in the NBA. Michael DeVoe is my MVP for the Blazers. This is a player who I thought might be the most underrated in college and then in the draft process again. He went undrafted in 2022 out of Georgia Tech, was able to find his way on a G League team, but didn't get much opportunity. He averaged just under 19 points a game this summer and was extremely efficient. Over 50% from the field and 60% from 3. The lefty combo guard is an elite scorer. His defense is the one area that needs improvement, but he has the tangibles to change this. DeVoe is always playing under control as well. I think he's skilled enough to play in the NBA, but we'll see if he can put everything together and get a needed opportunity. Next is the Sacramento Kings, and I chose Jordan Ford as the MVP. He played over 30 minutes a game for them and had the ball in his hands constantly. The undrafted player in 2020 out of St. Mary's did a good job of leading the team and running the point. He averaged 16 points a game and 5 assists. I thought he played well and did a good job of getting the team involved. He's played the last couple of seasons in the G League where he's been solid but nothing special. I think he's a decent player that just wasn't born with the physical tools needed for the NBA. Although he's still fighting for his NBA spot, I think he'll have a great career overseas. For the Spurs, I went with Malachi Branham, the 20-year-old 6'4" shooting guard who was drafted pick 20 in the 2022 draft. He averaged 21 points a game this summer while shooting just under 50% from 3. He has a great feel for the game and knows how to score in a variety of ways. He is a guy that does need to improve on defense in order to get minutes on this crowded Spurs backcourt. But I do really like him as a player, and I think he could take a big leap this year after just signing a multi-year contract with the team. I chose Grady Dick as my MVP for Toronto this summer. I did pick him as my bust of the draft due to the cost of the pick. This Raptors team was pretty bad going 1-4, but Grady had some good moments. He averaged 16 points a game but didn't shoot as well as he would want. He also was able to get 6 rebounds a game, which I think he should continue to make a focus so he can affect the game in different ways. The freshman out of Kansas was picked 13 in this year's draft. My main concern about him still is the fit. He's a player who needs a solid point guard in order to be at his best. I think fans should really be patient with him though, as he's only 19 years old. It may take some time for him to get adjusted to the NBA. I also spoke about this player in my previous video, but Keyonte George was the MVP for Utah. He averaged just under 22 points a game while being very efficient. He also did a good job of playmaking for his team, where he averaged over 6 assists a game. The 19-year-old guard looks like a steal already. I couldn't believe he went outside of the top 10 in the 2023 draft. He's one of those guys that can heat up quickly and take over games, just like he did in the first Summer League game where he scored 33 points and 10 assists. I was worried he wouldn't get a ton of opportunity his rookie season because of Utah's backcourt, but I think it's clear to the Jazz that he needs to be the future. I already had high stocks into this player, but I think he could blow up earlier than I expected. For the Wizards Summer League MVP, I picked Johnny Davis, the Wisconsin guard who was drafted pick 10 in the 2022 draft. It seemed like Davis came out hungry this summer after a tough rookie year. He averaged 16 points a game with just under 5 boards a game. Johnny's a player who can score at all 3 levels when it's within the offense. He's not a guy that needs to dominate the ball or ISO in order to get his points. This is a big reason why I think he struggled at Washington. He will be at his best when surrounded by a good team with a real point guard. He also looked really good on defense this summer as well, playing aggressive while having tough matchups. I think this can be an improved year for Johnny with Bradley Beal out the door. It's important his confidence is high as well. I look forward to his offensive game taking another step this year. Thank you for watching this video, and I'm sorry it took so long to get this one out. I will be posting another video shortly on my NBA season's predictions.